everyone. My name is Kurt Kressick, and I'm honored to serve Regent University as Dean of the School of Education. With us today presenting, we have Doctors Carr and Dr. Drosino. Let me tell you a little bit about them and what they're going to be talking about. The title today is Fostering the Continuity of Academic and Emotional Growth of Young Learner Through Meaningful At-Home Learning Experiences. Basically, it's the continuity of at-home learning using virtual tools and strategies to support educators and families of early education students, which is applicable to almost the entire population right now, with stay-at-home mom and dads having to work with their kids with lessons, etc. Even though they are being taught by teachers, it's just a different environment now. But let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Drosinos. She is a recent graduate of Regent University. She earned her EDD in Educational Psychology, an MA in Curriculum and Instruction from University of Maryland, a BS in Kindergarten and Elementary Ed from Pennsylvania State University. She holds a professional teaching license in the Commonwealth of Virginia, endorsed in early childhood, elementary education, art education, and pre-K through 12 administration and school leadership. She's nationally board certified in early childhood education, has been honored with numerous teaching awards, including Virginia's Regional Teacher of the Year in 2011, Virginia Lottery's 2013 Super Teacher, and in 2013, Outstanding Teacher Award by Penn State University Alumni Society. So throughout her doctoral work, she's presented numerous professional conferences and was awarded just recently the Emerging Researcher Award at the Consortium of Educational and Research Assessment and Teaching Effectiveness. That's the CREATE organization. So we want to welcome her. And with her presenting is Dr. Carr. Dr. Carr is a facilitator of learning and a proponent of autonomous learning. He's a professor here at Regent University. He says learners are becoming masters in their field, and doctors during this process we call graduate matriculation, which is a rich, rewarding, and it requires the guidance of professors. Professor Carr has been an innovator in the e-learning platform since he was a faculty member in the Educational Technology Leadership Program at the George Washington University back in 1998. He is a catalyst for making your academic and professional dreams become a reality in virtual learning environments. He has over 25 years of experience as a professor, teaching at all levels, and he's developed programs both at the doctorate and master's level in ed psychology. So I want to welcome both Drs. Drosino and Carr, and I will turn it over to Dr. Drosinos.
Well, thank you. That was a wonderful introduction, and I am just super excited to be here with Dr. Carr, who is my mentor, and we are going to talk a little bit about how to foster the continuity of that academic and emotional growth of young learners and also all learners at home. And so this webinar really will highlight the importance of four main things: maintaining that frontal lobe focus. I'll go into a little bit of what that is. The importance of modeling balance, wellness, and stability, emotional stability, defining the new supportive role of educators in this virtual world that we're living in right now, and then reaffirming the supportive role of families. And so to start us off, I want you to think about what you believe is most important in education. And I call that frontal lobe focus. And when we think about the hierarchy of importance, we think about the emotional support for all students. So by that frontal lobe focus, what I'm really referring to is that Maslow before Bloom, right? When we're looking at the at-home learning, our goal is not to replicate traditional school, but it is to provide an alternative. And we probably are putting and should put that emotional stability as a focus for us during this time, not only for our students, but also for those at home that are really trying to support them and balance everything that comes along with being at home, right? Being a mom, being a dad, grandma, grandpa, and then also being a teacher. One of the things I think in this time is we're going to take away the ability for us as humans to be resilient. And so this is an important thing about keeping us and our well-being at the forefront of this opportunity and this time to be home with our children. That also includes that balance, the wellness, the stability, remaining emotionally and physically healthy. And I think that at this time, um, not only do we need to tap into some of those creativity opportunities, but we also need to remember that we need to go outside, take a walk, be healthy, be happy, because we're the model for the children at home. Um, One of the other things that we wanted to talk about, and we definitely want to leave a lot of time for your questions, conversation. So if you have anything to add, make sure that you are just kind of raising your hand in here and making sure that you ask any questions so we can always revisit any of these components. But it's really defining the supportive role of educators. If you are an educator, I'm sure right now you're trying to navigate where you fit in to this global perspective taking. And we all got into education to be with kids. So teaching from behind the screen can be very, very challenging. It's almost like you're on Dora the Explorer and you're pausing after you ask a question, and it's just so awkward. And the hard part is you don't know who you're reaching because you don't see the students that you love so much because you're in front of that screen. So I think at this point, as educators, we have to just reaffirm that this is a new role for us and we are a supportive element. Yes, we are still driving that engine. We're still driving that train of education and continuous learning. But this is new. And so we really need to not only support the students in this being very new, but also support the families. And then that brings us to that last point, reaffirming that supportive role of families. And in education, we say all the time, you know, families are so important. We always say in kindergarten and in pre-K that our families are the first teachers of these students, and we're so blessed to have them in our classroom. But we always recognize that at home, that is their first teaching experience and learning experience. So we really just have to go back to that root and foster the confidence in families that this is challenging, this is hard because this is new, but we will do this together. We will support them in executing, learning, in support of their students learning a little bit differently, and we are all in this together. So Dr. Carr, do you have anything to add to any of those points?
Lockdown like the rest of us, and you conduct the business of of a professor at Regent University, since you're teaching with us, and you also teach with Virginia Beach Schools, and you also have two children at home in your house with you. That is a really big deal. Those are a lot of like if you were a juggler, you have a lot of balls in the air, so to speak, to cite Michael Gelb. But I think it's amazing how you do that, and I I believe it would be beneficial for everyone who is watching and listening to you, just to understand how do you view this time, and I think you're making the decision. I think I know you well enough to know that you're exhibiting human agency and you're just deciding to be positive about this. Now, very often when we have these situations like this, we've never had one like this before. However, a lot of people I speak with are really bummed out about the situation, and they're down and they're dreading things, and they're going, oh my gosh, we have all these things to do. I think you exhibit the human agency requisite to just make a decision to be positive about it and be happy and deal with the things you can deal with and pray for those things you can't. How accurate is that? How do you maintain that?
I think that's spot on. And I think that that's exactly what it is. You have to just take it one day at a time. And I think that at the end of the day, you have to have a prerequisite of forgiveness of yourself, because you may start that day as a parent, as a teacher, that we're going to make a schedule and it's going to be amazing, and we're going to put it on the refrigerator, and then we're going to follow that schedule, and that sounds fantastic. But then life happens and you're trying to balance your life with your child's life, or your children's lives, and you're also trying to model that this is new and scary, but it's okay because we're safe and we're home and we're together and we're with people that we love. So you have to kind of go to bed at night thinking, all right, well, that didn't go so well, but tomorrow's another day. The one piece of advice that I give other parents that are at home learning and at home teaching is that we have to remember that children learn best in an environment of love and compassion and understanding, and we need to be flexible with that. And we say that a lot to teachers, but now we've got to say it more to families, and more to our parents and guardians, because they're under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress, and we really need to let them know that if your child feels loved and your child is playing and they're going outside, they're going to reflect back to this moment, and they're going to be like, remember that time when you were home all the time with me? That was so much fun. They're not going to have that outlook of, remember the time we couldn't go to school? Of course, they're missing school, right? And they're missing their friends, and they're missing their peers and their teachers. But you are the constant. And so when you're grounded, you're modeling for your children at home that it's going to be okay and we're in this together.
Professor Drosinos, I was thinking as you were talking, which is probably a dangerous thing for me to be. Adult learners require similar particulars as the children do. They need to be nurtured. They need to feel loved. They need to feel accomplishments, and they don't need to feel overwhelmed. So, as you know, and as Dean Kressig mentioned, I'm a proponent of autonomous learning.
Mm-hmm.
Autonomous learning does not mean learning done in isolation. Autonomous learning means that one would surround him or herself with the appropriate human and material resources requisite for the learning endeavor. Yeah. And we are just not isolated human beings by nature. Some people prefer to go and charge their batteries alone, but some people prefer other means. This is tough on a lot of people. However, human agency is a big deal here, and we just have the decisional processes requisite for making the decision just to be happy. We may, just like you mentioned, we may look back on this, and I really think we will. We're going to have some abundance come out of this. Mm-hmm. And I'm not certain what that looks like, of course, but I think that at some point in our lives, we may look back upon this and go, man, we hit the lottery. We were home and we were doing a lot of work, but we got some really interestingly creative work done. And we got to hang out with our families, and we got to get on the telephone with our colleagues, our human and material resources, and we made some friends and some colleagues out of what we thought then were some pretty dire situations. And I'm just choosing to view this as a positive endeavor. And you know what? It's different. People talk about the e-learning platform being different from a face-to-face environment. I saw something on the news last night about some students who were filing suit against Harvard University because Harvard is not providing the on-campus particulars that they had signed up for and they enrolled for and they believed they were paying for. Well, that's true. And one of the people from Harvard was interviewed, and she said, you know what? We probably will not open in the fall unless it is safe for everyone. However, we are Harvard and will remain at the forefront of have learning environments that are productive for everyone. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really interesting that this is just basically what she said. What I took home from that interview was that, okay, this is different. No, it's not face-to-face. No, we're not hugging one another. We're not doing group hugs like we do in the education psychology program.
That's
Okay? We're not doing group hugs. We're not, hanging out and having pizza and stuff like that. However, we are still getting together and we are still learning, and we are creating safe environments that are conducive to learning, that are as comfortable as possible. So in essence, yeah, we're forced to do things differently, but if learning isn't fun, you're doing it wrong.
absolutely. Excellent.
Thanks.
I learned a lot from you, Dr. Carr.
I'm still.
And I think you really summed it up when we have to make that choice every day. And I do believe, like you said, that we will be able to look back on this and take some elements that maybe would not have happened. And I think one of the things is going to be how precious time is and how we have the choice in how we utilize time. And when you were talking about human agency, that goes down to birth. And I think that is something that is a learned behavior. That is something that is in the Drosinos house. Take it or leave it, is a wonder jar, and that's something that we do in school. And I said, Charlie's my 4-year-old. He has a wonder jar, and Melina is my 14-year-old, and she has a wonder jar. And anything that they happen to wonder about, now is the time that we're doing some investigations, and it's all about them. They're making the choice. They're being the autonomous learners. And so my son wanted to know all about how many seashells can we find? And I said, well, let's see, how many seashells can we find in 30 minutes? And so we walked down to the beach, of course, with our masks on, and we live at the beach, so it's okay. And we walked down and we set my timer on my phone, and we tried to find as many seashells as we could. That was his wonder. We went home, we sorted them. He came up with that. I did not think of that. And I probably would not have thought of that. It was all about him. And now is the time for us to do.
Perhaps we should construct a wonder jar assignment somehow in the education psychology program. What do you think?
I think it's perfect, and we're already on it.
I think it's wonderful, and what you've just described there is really profound. That and your 4-year-old did this, correct?
Mm-hmm. 4-year-old boy, Charlie.
Well, one of the goals of autonomous learning is whereby when one holds a doctoral degree from this institution, and especially if one is an education psychology major, then you don't know every. Graduate with the tools in your tool belt whereby you can go, if someone says, Dr. Drosinos, do you know how many seashells one can accumulate in 20 minutes? You might go, no, I don't. However, I do have the capability to describe a learning endeavor, to construct a curriculum, just like you did, going to the beach and you set your watch, and then utilize the human and material resources requisite for the learning endeavor. And the good part is to see oneself through to some level of satisfaction. So what your 4-year-old just did is essentially follow the tenets of autonomous learning, to describe the learning endeavor and to go about it as see oneself through to some level of satisfaction, whereby in this case, he counted seashells and in a 20-minute time. Now, what I would be interested in asking the question to him, what is his name?
Charlie.
What I would be interested in asking him is, what is the criteria by which he chose the seashells? Which ones were acceptable to keep and which ones weren't?
And after his nap, I'm going to ask him that.
Sweet. I like it.
But when I think of that opportunity, for me, it was 30 minutes out of my day. As a working mom, by the time I get home, I don't know if I would have even had the time to do that. It would probably be more prescribed, like, okay, that sounds like a great idea. Let's see if we can do it on Saturday. But instead I said, that's a great wonder. Let's put it in our jar. let's go do it. It's not raining. We can do it now. And so it's more of the capturing also of not only modeling that exactly resourcefulness, and we can figure this answer out ourselves, but I could easily have gone right onto, YouTube or Google, and we could have figured it out that way, but it was an experiential learning opportunity. And families and parents right now have the time to do those things. And so that's what I would encourage teachers to encourage families at home to do, your child to be the engine in driving their learning train.
You know, you and I have had a lot of conversations about the constructivist model of learning as well.
Yep.
And I know I may speak on your behalf that you're a proponent of constructivist learning endeavors, and that's exactly what you did. You seized the opportunity to go do something about it. And so, I mean, I guess if I had anything to really share with people now about what is the importance of what we're doing now. We're engaged in learning ourselves, and we're creating safe environments for others to learn among us. But we're all learning, and we're all learning how to negotiate this lockdown scenario, because this virus is real, and it's very important for us to maintain a sterile field when we go out. And you mentioned you have the masks and things, but we're figuring this stuff out. But the interesting thing about it is that, you know what, learning is paramount. We're still learning, and we should enjoy this and just make the decision to think positive about this instead of being bummed out. And by saying bummed out, I'm using academic lexicon, of course, right?
Of course you are. Absolutely. Well, should we see if we have any questions?
I think so.
Wonderful. Whoops.
Rachel, would you like me to unshare the slides? Okay.
My video is not, my microphone is not coming up. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or not.
We can.
Yes.
I can.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so if anybody would like to ask questions at this point, feel free to click on the button at the bottom of your screen that has someone raising their hand, and then that will signal for me to go ahead and unmute you so you're able to share your microphone or fill out a question in the chat area.
Or we can just keep talking. I'm happy to do that too.
All right, Dora Hernandez, Emergent Dr. Hernandez, how are you?
Oh.
Dora, how's it going?
Okay, go ahead, Dora.
I believe Dora is in Costa Rica.
Oh, nice, Dora.
You there, Dora? Emergent Dr. Hernandez.
Dora, you can click on the microphone icon, and then we'll be able to hear you ask your question.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Dora.
Hi, Dora.
Hi, how are you? Now I can, I just want to say thank you and hello, Dr. Carr and Dr. Drosinos. It's wonderful.
Hello, Dora.
Hello, to see you. I don't have questions, but I just wanted to say hello, and don't miss the opportunity to say thank you for this opportunity to see you, see your face. Thank you.
Aw. So glad you
It's
joined us,
wonderful
Dora.
Yeah, how are things going in Costa Rica, Dora?
Very good. We are like doing very well. Just 6 people have died from coronavirus, so we're like like we have a blessing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
So you and your family are staying safe, correct?
yes, yeah. Thank
Good.
you.
Good.
Hug your mom for me, okay?
Thank you very much. I will.
Not a virtual hug, a real one. How's that?
Sorry?
Not a virtual hug, a real hug.
Yes, I receive it. Thank you.
Dora, had you met Dr. Drosinos before? You met her at residency, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think I know her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember meeting you, Dora, last residency.
Yeah, yeah. It's wonderful to see you.
You
Yeah.
too. You too.
Thank you. Your ideas are very, very nice. Even for
Good.
you are talking about children most of all, but what Dr. Carr said about the adult learners, it is helpful for me as a university teacher with my students or professor with my students. I'm trying to keep the contact with them also in little groups, and yeah, that helps a lot to keep praying and doing things.
Awesome. Good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dora.
Bye, Dora. And I see a lot of people who are here. Shirley. Shirley, you have a question? Emergent Dr. Reed.
Okay, Shirley, you should be good to go ahead and click your microphone.
I think Shirley just bailed out on us. So, Dr. Drosinos, let me ask you a question. Are you creating some time to do some writing or do some investigation of some of the constructs we've spoken about that you're interested in?
I have, and I'm actually, interestingly enough, partnering with WHRO. We are doing something called Learn and Grow with the WHRO, and I am Miss Karen.
Miss Karen.
Teaching some virtual kindergarten lessons. So I haven't, it gives me an opportunity to put my teacher hat back on. I taught kindergarten for 22 years. So I'm back in the swing of things with that. But it also allows me to be creative, and that's something that I've kind of missed. So creating lessons, albeit virtually. So yeah, I'm loving it.
So when you say virtually, what's the protocol there?
So it has to be 13 minutes and 30 seconds. That's hard because I'm a talker. And I have certain SOL, standards of learning in kindergarten, that I address, and it's like little mini lessons. It's through Zoom, and I record it, and WHRO will then edit and put that all together. And it's on PBS, so it's on a channel, I think like Files is 460. It's 515, whatever, your PBS channel is. Yeah, so it's been fun.
I told you were a rock star a long time ago.
I don't know about that, but Miss Karen's back, so for a limited time.
I love it.
It's lots of fun. It's lots of fun.
So do we have any more questions, anyone? I have a question for Dr. Drosinos.
Yes, sir.
Are you having fun?
Fast.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
This has been an amazing experience. What a great idea to have webinars with, with our university and really have a conversation with our scholars. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Is Shirley back?
Yeah, looks like she is. Go ahead.
I had to switch. I was on my phone and you have a narrow view of the screen, so I had to switch to my laptop so I could unmute the microphone on my laptop. So I'll try to be brief. I had a conversation with a elementary teacher. He is a 5th grade teacher, and he is also the academic director at a summer camp that I oversee. He just finished a live class, and I should add that I'm in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Ah, yeah.
And we just found out. It was announced yesterday that the schools will remain closed through the end of the school year. So that's not. So in talking to him, he stated. I asked him about how his students were holding up. He's an excellent teacher, very engaging. They love him, and he said that he had just finished his live class with them online, obviously, class with them. And one thing they generally express is that they're bummed out about not coming to school.
Yep.
And also, 5th grade is this is graduation year for them.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that he and his team were trying to come up with ideas about how to make it a memorable end of the year in light of this COVID-19 situation. So I wanted to give your sage advice, Dr. Carr, and I hope Drosinos, Dr.
Yep, that's right.
about what can I share with my the teacher and to help him come up with ideas to make this a meaningful end of the school year.
That's
Go,
a
Dr.
great
Drosinos.
question. So my daughter, I had mentioned before, is 14, and so she is just finishing her 8th grade year, and we're, it's going to be completed virtually. And so, as you know, 5th grade, 8th grade, big deals as they're moving into high school with 8th grade and middle school in 5th. One of the things that her school is doing, which I think is a great idea, is they're doing a virtual yearbook. And so they've asked all the families, parents, guardians, to send in 3 to 4 pictures of their child. And what they are doing is working with their ITS at the school, instructional technology specialist, or IT coach, to put together a virtual yearbook. And so the students are actually writing components of it. Now they're going to have a paper yearbook, of course, but this is just a way that they're kind of highlighting some of the students' favorite moments throughout the year. And so that's something I would suggest doing. Another thing is, this is going to sound really, really simple, but what I've been recommending to a lot of our teachers, particularly our 5th grade teachers, is to write a letter to each of their students, mail it, old-fashioned snail mail, and really personalize that letter and capture the year for that child. And in the letter, they can write that this could be something like a keepsake. And so it's something where when that child goes on to graduate high school, college, they can look back on this time and say, hey, like even though half of our year was virtual, my teacher got me. My teacher understood me. My teacher cared about me. And it's just that little keepsake. Because so many things are virtual, right? But nothing replaces that handwritten letter, card. There's where that sentiment and relationship will continue. I know it sounds simple, but.
Oh, these are wonderful ideas. I'm sorry.
Shirley, those are great ideas, Dr. Drosinos. One thing I would, Shirley, you know me, you've worked with me for a while, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
You know that you asked me a question, so okay. Why don't you go out on a limb and ask the students what they think you could do to enhance this endeavor? And again, I've spoken about Harvard a couple of times. When Harvard students said, you know what, we're going to miss graduation, and we're the first cohort, or the first group of students, the first graduates since the school began in 1636 who have not been able to attend graduation. And the president of Harvard spun it right around and said, yep, you know what? We've never had to cancel graduation before. So we're not doing it now. We're doing it differently. We're doing it virtually, but your graduating class is so special. You're the only ones who will ever receive this type of a graduation. Now, we're not canceling graduation. We are reinventing it for you. Why don't you just simply ask some students? You know I'm a qualitative research guy, right, Shirley? You know
Yes,
this.
true. Yeah.
You know that I'm a recovered quantitative researcher. Why not conduct a little qualitative research and ask them what they think you could do to make it really very special for them?
I think he'd be very receptive to that idea, as well as Dr. Drosinos. Yes, these are good.
I think
Dr. Carr,
Drosinos,
that's a great idea.
I think Dr. Drosinos too. I would see if you asked me, I'd say, hey, look, what can we do to enhance your graduation? And I'd say the keys to a new Ferrari would be sweet, but I guess that's out of the question. So, yeah, I think the handwritten, a lot of us are losing the art of the handwritten note, which is, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's a great idea.
Shirley, quick question. The school you're referring to, is it I taught in DC. I lived in all over Maryland at one point. So Montgomery County is pretty big, as I recollect. So is the school very, geographically, is it span a large space, or is it more like a neighborhood school?
Well, it is. This school is unique in that it's located in East Montgomery County.
Mm-hmm.
In that area, they have a large number of people from ethnic backgrounds, immigrant families. While Montgomery County is supposedly well-to-do in most areas, this area is economically challenged. So the students are, not only do they have the English language barrier that they have to overcome, but economic challenges as well. So it's predominantly people of African descent at this particular school.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just thinking, could the school take a school bus, have the employees, get in the school bus, kind of decorate it in a celebratory fashion, and schedule this with the community that at 12 o'clock on this day, and of course the teachers wear masks and stuff. Like, I'm not sure what the protocol is with that, but kind of just have a big celebration and drive that school bus beep in throughout their neighborhood and have the kids stand outside or look out through wherever they are, so they can see that teachers are celebrating them on a particular day at a particular time. I don't know.
But most of them are bussed in, so they're dispersed over a wide area within that.
Yeah, maybe, they can divide and conquer, take 3 school buses, one this area, one this area, one this area.
Well,
We've had some schools do something like that too.
It's worth considering. It's worth considering. I like that idea that having a little drive-by celebration.
Yeah, just a big old wave and.
It's something to think about, but these are great ideas about how they can help make the kids. And I like the idea of the emotional component. I'm very much interested in social emotional development. So I like this idea to help incorporate a sense of caring in this, that we have not forgotten you and we're still with you, we're still here for you. So those are great ideas. And I'm not going to rule that one out, but we do have the stay-at-home order issued by the governor. So we have to kind of tread lightly in that area.
Sure.
I mean, this is,
Right.
Thank you for that additional idea. I appreciate all of this. It's very valuable.
Hey, Shirley, as you've written in your papers, your recent papers, social emotional intelligence is a big deal in learning, even especially for adults, especially now. But that's how we roll in the education psychology program. Would you say that?
Yes, Yes, I do. And I love this opportunity to be able to apply these different principles as in this time, in this moment. I'm working on developing a program for either a virtual program, so we're not going to have we're still not ruling out an on-site summer program, but we're looking at two different scenarios, but I'm definitely incorporating social emotional development in it. I think this is a very important given the circumstances occurring at this time.
I love it, Shirley. I want to hear it from you. That's how we roll, right?
Lee,
No, let's hear it. Come on. Say it. Tell me.
how
on,
we
Charlie.
roll.
That's how we roll.
Nice, Shirley.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I love it.
Awesome.
Well, I guess perhaps that may conclude our questions.
Yeah, I think so. Dr. Carr, Dr. Drosinos, I thank you so much for your expertise, and it was fun. So I like the humor and everything else, and that's how you roll. So I like it.
That's
So,
how we roll.
yeah. So I want to thank everyone who joined us today. Again, if you want to reach out to Dr. Carr, he's available. His information is available at the Regent website. And I'm sure Dr. Drosinos, you're also listed there as an adjunct. Her information is there. This will be archived at this particular site that you just visited to watch this. So in 24 hours, it'll be there if you want to watch it again. But in the meantime, I hope everybody has a fantastic Thursday and weekend to come, and God bless. And take care.
Thank you, Dean Kresick. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Dr. Drosinos.
Thank you, everybody.